I think the source of our power is honestly just our individual skill. We fortunately weren't worse than the sum of our parts, but we weren't better than that either. And I think slowly, as we've been playing more and more, we've sort of built up that synergy. But heck, even without that, you have to be scared of every single one of us on the Rift. So, hey teams, be prepared and be scared.
The mid lane battle is going to be, it looks like it's going to be a battle of players with only 4 champions. And so it's just going to be which one of us gets the most comfortable pick that we're ready for. But also seeing that it is a best of 5, I guess it's going to be which one of us can keep our cool and stay ahead of the other one. Because I firmly believe that depending whichever one of us wins is going to determine how the game goes.
I think that RLS has a ton of potential, and that it's really hard to put a ceiling on our, skill or what we can potentially do, what teams we could potentially beat. But that ultimately comes from being really well practiced, working well together. If we have a really solid draft that we're playing the game in, I think that it's very difficult for me to not feel confident going in against a team, no matter who they are.
Leaves pushing forward. Yon is kiting and kiting and kiting. Crim on the back line trying to take down Ultravox, but Ultravox takes him down. Leaves 1v2 right now, taking down 2 members of Art of War.
Not enough cubes coming in, trying to save their target. Look at that Zillion ult coming in to save Utility Monster at the last possible second. And there's going to be a huge amount of damage. We got the Janna as well. The trying to heal them up. The Calling is just taking out so much, jumping over the wall. The flash from Jeff God Gamer managed to find the final target.
It's been great playing with RLS all season and coming up with new acronyms for their team. I hope after our series they have some extra L's to work with.
Oh, that is a huge Aurelia stun, but it's not going to matter if they just get bounced around and knocked all over the place and taken out. They're not able to engage at all. Reset trying to get over the wall, doesn't quite manage to make it. And then we got Sunny trying to get in on that backline, but they get ripped to shreds by the damage from rapidly losing.
Utility is the first to go down. Dax is running away. Jeff God Gamer summons the curtain call. Antunes stops it though with a hook. Jeff God Gamer goes down to the Jinx Rocket. Bill goes down. Sibilok.
I don't think this best of 5 will be honestly that hard. After all, when we're fighting TDE, it really just feels like we're fighting UB.5, and I mean, we've seen how we do against UB already.
Welcome everybody to our final semifinals game of the Heroic League Season 5. I'm War Leader, and joined with me is my friend from across the pond, Lolo.
War Leader, this is going to be an absolute banger series. I can already feel it. The second semifinals, as you mentioned, and these 2 teams, TDE and Beatboot, they've gone back and forth a little bit in the regular season. They've both looked pretty nasty going into playoffs. Unstoppable, of course, TDE pulling out that second seed. They haven't had to play yet. Beatboot sweeping through Art of War already. Both of these teams, I think we're looking for a very competitive series here. I would not be surprised to see it go to all 5 games, but let's do it. Let's get into the pick and bans.
Yeah, so pretty standard bans, I think, so far coming out from both sides. Taking away the Vigar is a very common flex pick. Luru being quite competent on it, and of course Vigar in the mid lane, and even in support is a very potent pick. As well, Team Beatboot banning out the Ashe that Ultravox loves to spam so much, and Kayn that leaves has been playing absolutely nonstop. And Blitzcrank appears to be the first pick from the side of TDE, looking to take that away from Antunes quite early on. We're going to have to see if Antunes wants to answer with that Nautilus.
Yeah, or potentially the Thresh even. Of course, it's not so good into the Blitzcrank, but he is so proficient on the champion. And you know what I'm most interested at so far, War Leader, is that Jinx has not been picked yet. I wouldn't be surprised to see it on the R2 right now, because both of these ADCs, Ultravox and Luru, are prolific Jinx players, particularly Luru, I believe. And they both looked really strong on them in the regular season so far, but neither of these teams are looking to give that up, to go for that angle straight away. It does look like, with a lot of comfort, as you said, from the bans already being taken off the table, instead it is going to be both of these teams playing for some quite serious early game, as they are both early game monsters.
Yep, and there's the Jinx you were talking about. It was only a matter of time until that was going to get picked up. Also, Victor locked in for Mizuza. Absolutely prolific on that champion. Absolute monster. Probably the scariest individual mid lane pick champion combo in this league right now. So to pick that up in game 1, TDE have to be feeling comfortable about it, especially as Beatboom choose to answer an ADC, which means TDE is going to get the opportunity to take away more counter picks from P-Sweezy.
Yes, certainly, and it looks like Baby instead are going to try to limit Zenzen's champion pool. As you said, Mazuza, he's 7-0 so far on the Victor in FOF Season 5. He's looked unstoppable on this champion, and yes, Beatboop, they're setting themselves up with a bit of a combo right now with the Leona, the Misfortune. It will be interesting to see what solo laners we get for them so far. It does look like maybe they want to try to give Jaffe more of an edge by taking away some of Zenzen's comforts like the Kled, but I suppose what I'm most interested in is TD have got quite a lot of comfort so far. Leaves has been a pretty like sort of standout playmaker for this team, even though he's had great lanes to work around, and they're holding off on picking against this Trundle because they're not in too much of a rush. Of course, the Trundle could be flexed as well, so just holding all off a little bit there, seeing what Baby pick on that R4, so they have more of an idea what they can pull out in response.
Yeah, so far TDE has a very standard composition for their style of play, and frankly, I think Beatboop does as well. Well, maybe we haven't seen these specific champions. Seeing a very dominant bottom lane is something that Beatboop likes to play through, and getting Dax on an aggressive early playmaking jungler is also something that Beatboop does to set themselves up for success. So Beatboop are definitely going to look to take this early game, and Galio is going to be locked in for P-Sweezy in that mid lane as an answer to Victor. Should be able to nicely farm out lane and be a force in these mid-game skirmishes.
Yes, and of course, Sweezy's 1-1 on the champion so far. I think this says as well that they are looking to play particularly towards the sides. Of course, with the hero's entrance, he's able to go and set up some nice roams, similar to what a TF can do. Sweezy, I think we've particularly as it is going to be, let's hold that thought for a moment, because that is some additional early game aggression coming through from Leaves' Nunu, which he's actually, I mean, he played a couple of times so far and so far in the season has actually looked really devastating on even on the full tank. And in response, it's going to be Jaffe on the Aatrox going up against that tank Gragas in the top lane. And yeah, Jaffe's a bit of a monster on this champion as well.
Yeah, I'm really happy to see more Aatrox play. Haven't seen a lot of it within FOF, but I think the champion is very strong right now. So not surprised to see that be an answer into a very passive top laner like that, Gragas. And so far, I think I tend to favor Beatboop's composition that they formed. I think it allows them to dictate the pace of the game very early on. But if Leaves can start disrupting that with that Nunu, and TDE can make it to, say, 25-30 minutes with the Jinx and Victor in tow, things get really dangerous. So this is set up to be an absolute banger.
Yes, certainly. And I think Sweezy, we need to keep our eye on in particular. War Leader, all of these, what I do love so much about this series, as we'll be going into game very soon, is, well, now in fact, is that all of these matchups from, you know, normally you would zero in maybe on one specific matchup that you're most interested to see in the series. I'm interested in all of these because there's storylines behind all of them, right? It's like, particularly on this baby on the side of TDE, we have a lot of contenders going up for best in the league on roll versus former sort of undisputed best in the league on roll, as we are going to be getting into game now, and no action so far from across the roll. Both of these teams looking for a bit of a commit, but yeah, let's just see how this plays out, because I think there's a lot of ego on the line right now. Both of these teams really looking to try to make a statement going into grand finals with this win, with UB, of course, waiting there on the other side. And I think just before we get into this, we should also mention that should you wish to learn a little bit more about the lore of some of these players and how some of them are very seasoned veterans, some of them new to the league, all of them have been really performing stand out in the season thus far, you should go and have a little look on the website at the FOF Connect.
That being said, both junglers choosing to start on their red buffs. Trundle Dax is going to be doing it leashless, so to try and make sure that TDE have no idea where that troll could be coming in from, should give Trundle plenty of time to find a good opportunity to gank from Fog of War. Meanwhile, Leaves on the Nunu going from red to Raptors. Now, something that Nunu always has the option of doing is after taking away that Raptors camp, and we did see that Nunu did level the big snowball level 2, so could always go into that mid lane immediately, but is going to opt to go for more of that 5 camp. Early aggression in the bottom lane is going to find both AD carries quite chunked. Overall, health bars looking quite even. Potions burned from both sides, but Jinx came to the lane with an extra one, so maybe early advantage towards Ultravox just off of that as both bot lanes hit level 2. Don't think there's going to be any skirmishing for a little while longer. Bob Joseph has to be very careful with these Blitzcrank hooks. Got to make sure you're hitting Misfortune instead of the Liana.
Yes, and no surprises to see a lot of aggression coming out in these this bot lane 2v2 early on. If we do want to zero in, or particularly I want to zero in on one matchup, as we are seeing quite some aggressive trades going on in the top lane now.
Phase Rush is going to be procced from the side of Zenzen, getting away from that Aatrox, who has built up a massive minion wave, and that minion wave does a lot of damage. And Zenzen does get chunked to about half HP, Jaffe being chunked to 2/3. Zenzen should have no time recovering that HP, and Jaffe's just going to look to get to base early.
You were mentioning, War Leader, that you're happy to see more of the Aatrox coming out. I think it's quite sensible as well, just because, again, especially if you're playing against tank or something tanky up there in the top side, he is able to put down a lot of pressure early, of course. He's got the immediate sustain advantage. He's a manaless champion. He is able to get a nice crash off early, build himself a little bit of an item advantage off that Cheetah Recallers. For the moment, more trading down in the bot side.
Antunes going to find the Zenith Blade on Ultravox, and the Ignite comes down, flashes out for both AD carries. Antunes would flash forward to secure the kill, and now Bob Joseph is in trouble, is stunned up, but Luru not able to continue going aggressive. Those important skills are on cooldown. Dax, though, being prepared for the dive. Meanwhile, Snowball into the mid lane. P. Sweezy caught out quite a bit. Going to have to flash, utilize that taunt. Oh, and Bob Joseph hooks Dax under the tower, throws down the Ignite. That Troll's going so low as they try and look to keep up this dive, but they're going to have to call it off. Overall, 1-0 for the side of Baby, but flashes are being burned everywhere, and the Nunu is looking for Dax, snowballing in, gets canceled, doesn't want to go too deep, 1 versus 3, and the excitement is going to wear away for now.
Okay, so the tension didn't last for too long, did it? There's more action in the mid lane. Dax is coming in.
Dax is coming in, pillars down, it's going to force the flash from Azusa, and both immediately call it off. Nice Summoner spell burned back, and is going to give Dax the opportunity to come mid lane very soon, and Azusa has no mana right now, so Dax is just looking to get this wave shoved out to put under his tower, try and deny as much CS to that Victor as possible. Azusa doing their best to pick it up, doing a pretty good job, but is going to lose a bunch as Leaves looking for an opportunity, but Dax is not going to be caught.
And no surprises at all, if I have a moment now to, because action across the board. Both of these teams, we did mention just a little bit in draft, are early game terrors. And they love to build their gold advantages early. They are first and second in the lead on gold advantages at the 15-minute mark. And so far, due to all of that early aggression, it's going to be just a little bit of a lead coming out for the side of Baby, but nothing too notable just yet. The kill going on to Antunes, of course. No surprises there. We know what Antunes is like with support kills, and whether he continues to snowball, who can say? But either way, Baby just building themselves a little bit of an early advantage, but nevertheless, nothing too much just yet. It's still fairly even early game.
Yeah, things are looking pretty even so far, just that first blood, as you mentioned, and Leaves doing a good job of picking up a lot of jungle camps, getting quite an advantage over the Trundle, who hasn't managed to make any of these ganks convert into anything yet, and it's going to mean that there's a pretty big gold advantage and a pretty big scaling advantage to the side of Beep-Boot. Now, action may be going on in the top lane as Galio is roaming up, maybe looking for a dive, maybe looking just to prevent the gank from Nunu, who's looking to recall right here, going to cancel. P. Sweezy establishes vision control in the enemy jungle. Nunu trying to decide, Leaves is trying to decide whether he wants to blast cone over on top of Jaffe or just clear the ward, both being pretty viable options. Is going to end up going towards that ward, revealing their location, and get rid of it. It's going to force Jaffe to back up.
Yes, and so far, yeah, Leaves has waited a long time, as you said, on the top side there, just trying to dissuade any kind of play from Baby, but that does mean that on the other side of the map, Dax has wandered down towards the Drake, and that is going to be an early Drake being picked up for Baby, continuing to work on the little lead they've built themselves now. They'll be very happy with this push they've got on the bot side to pick up that first early objective.
Yep, and grabbing up the Ocean Drake is going to be a nice amount of sustain for the lane. Is going to allow these lanes to be more healthy, allow P-Sweezy to endure more poke, allow Jaffe to stay healthy and match Gragas' sustain, allow Luru to get out lots of poke in this bot lane to prepare for the all-in. And speaking of, Dax is here in the lane, in the brush, waiting for an opportunity. Antunes going to look to sniff it out here as we see some brawling in the top lane, but there's a Zenith played out onto Bob Joseph. Now Dax is coming around, stun onto Bob Joseph, is going to force the in return, does not quite put Antunes under the tower, ignites exchange from both sides, and Dax is just here to push the wave, but Leaves and P-Sweezy are on the rotation, and if Leaves goes deep, P-Sweezy can punish really hard, but they are going to see that Galio. Nuda going to walk away, but brawling in the top side, Zenzen caught out, is going to be pulled back in by that Aatrox W. No escape going to be found as flashes exchange, and a kill over to that Aatrox. Bob Joseph looking for a hook, not going to find it, and we might see things finally wind down.
Yeah, a lot of action down there in the bot side, but ultimately it doesn't amount to anything. But up there in the top side, Jaffe just continuing to build on that pressure, gets himself a nice solo bolo, building a little bit of a kingdom up there in the top side. As no surprise, so much action is going down here in the bot side, as I said. But overall, it doesn't amount to too much. A couple of summoners get traded, and the Drake still did go over in the way of Baby. That is going to put them 2-0 up, just about a 1k gold lead now. But Jaffe, yeah, he's looking really comfortable. He's built a 20 CS lead as well as that kill. And so far, Leaves has not been able to do much up there on the top side because he's had control of the vision up there as well. So he's looking in a great spot. And I'll be interested if Leaves decides to continue trying to apply pressure bot side or whether he does go and try to deal with Jaffe.
Yeah, and Dax has been putting out so much pressure and occupying Leaves' time. The CS advantage in the jungle has started to swing back in the favor. Bob Joseph hex flashing forward in the mid lane, looking for P-Sweezy, is going to land up the knock-up, canceling the taunt, but Dax is here at the play. But Dax is on a ward. Bob Joseph going to find the hook. Silence is out. Galio is going to find a knock-up onto Leaves. Absolute Hero is canceled, and Leaves dies to minions, and that red buff burn in the mid lane and in a 3v2 Baby are the ones who pick up the kill. Zenzen looking for revenge on the top side as Mazuza crashes a wave in mid, but overall, very well played from Baby to make it happen. Is Zenzen going to find Dax? Yes. Body slam forward onto the red buff. Smite is going to secure it, and Zenzen's going to have to walk away empty-handed.
Oh, Baby getting everything they could have wanted out of that play, especially with the amount of resources that TDE committed, as you said, a 3v2. But beautiful use of the hero's entrance as Jaffe is going to look for another solo bolo.
Yep, Jaffe is looking for Zenzen, but that phase rush, we can see why that was a summoner spell selection. Cask is going to go out trying to set up Leaves. Snowball will be denied by that Trundle Pillar. So powerful in denying that new engage. And both sides just going to walk away for now, but certainly gold advantage swinging more and more in the favor of Baby as this goes on, 1.5 to their name.
As you said, War Leader, Leaves, even though he's still got a little bit of a CS advantage, he's actually getting invaded now, and he's just not been able to make any sort of proactive play happen in his favor. It's all been dissuaded from some great microplay from Baby. Antunes is going in again.
Yep, Xenoblade is out, is going to get knocked up by Bob Joseph. Luru struggling to find an angle in. The Chomper is going to keep Luru out of that fight. It means it's going to end with an HP trade on the supports, definitely favoring the side of Baby. Antunes has those potions ticking, and utilizing that Ignite is certainly going to mean that they win that trade in the early game, or sorry, early on. But Hex Flush is being channeled over the wall by Bob Joseph, looking for an angle, not quite going to find anything. I think we're going to calm down a little bit now as we saw a bit of a summoner spell trade in that bottom lane. Not going to amount to much.
No, not going to amount to much. And as we... Well,
Zenzen's going to miss the body slam, and that means Dax is here and ready to punish. The pillar going down, Subjugate going down, Zenzen going down. That's going to be a lot of plates coming up to that top tower. We know that Trundle is a tower-pushing machine, and that's what they're going to look for. Meanwhile, Leaves, looking to find revenge in the bot lane, is going to snowball in. Hook from Bob Joseph goes wide, but Antunes is in trouble, is going to sidestep the snowball, and Bullet Time is going to come out and only going to find half of Ultravox's health. Super Mega Death Rocket is going to find Antunes. Lulu having to flash away, but Galio is teleported into the fight, and PCZ finds Ultravox. Now Bob Joseph in a lot of trouble. Jaffe looking for Mazuza under the tower. Zenzen teleporting in, Dax arriving to the play, but Jaffe falls first, and no more kills are going to be treated to the bot lane. Cross the map, 1 for 2 for the side of TDE.
Yeah, and TDE answering back there. That's a kill onto Ultravox, who's been a little bit quiet with so much pressure put onto him all game. But he does manage to pick up a kill, get himself a few items on the board. Also, Mazuza now coming online, who's been having to sit and just hold that mid wave for a while. He does manage to rotate and get himself a kill onto Jaffe. That will look very nice for him. But even so, with all of that action happening, the tempo advantage goes in the favor of Baby. They're able to pick up the second Drake.
Yeah, and I think Cloud Drake is actually a very, very nice Drake for the side of Baby to pick up. They have a lot of champions that rely on move speed, and notably enemy champions that also rely on move speed. Jinx getting excited, Blitzcrank running in, getting overcharged, and Nunu with the snowball, denying that movement, and getting that for yourself is definitely going to apply a lot of pressure and allow Trundle and Aatrox to get on top of champions significantly faster. Now, we see Antunes going for maybe an aggressive play on top side. He is going to get caught out on a ward, a couple of wards actually. Not quite going to find more. He's going to look to take that Hex Gate back across the map.
Yeah, no surprises. Antunes making that roam up there into the top side as he is wont to do. Well, no, I'm not going to speak much further. Potentially, as Leaves, he was looking for something there, but in the end, he's going to be dissuaded. That is just going to be a push and allow Mazuza to get a reset off. So let's go back for just a second, as it does look like TD are going to set their sights firmly on that Herald now that they managed to get that push in mid. Oh, hang on.
Well, Pillar is going to find Ultravox subjugate, making Ultravox so squishy. Luru is going to dish out the damage kill going over to Dax, and that Herald, it's not even going to come to fruition. The members of TDE end up backing off. Bob Joseph might be getting caught out here, is going to get stunned up by Antunes. Luru walking around to the play. Dax is staying on that tower until now. Rain is going to come out and set up for a beautiful bullet time. Bob Joseph nice. Taken down by Luru in the bot lane. Mazuza unable to respond. Ultravox still respawning in that fountain. Baby have taken full control of this bot side jungle and extended their gold lead to 3,000.
Oh, this Jinx pick, they knew what they were doing when they gave this over, did Baby. They said, look, take the Jinx. We're going to just apply full pressure on the bot side. And yeah, Ultravox has been shut down from the early game, and he's really struggling at the moment. Look at this lead that Luru now has over. He's got 30 CS. He's got his Mythic online. He's an absolute powerhouse. That bullet time doing so much damage. And Dax is starting to come online as well. It is all starting to swing very heavily in Baby's favor.
Speaking of swinging, Jaffe finding an extended trade onto Zenzen, very much going in the favor of Bob Joseph, finds a hook onto Luru, who has to run away. Outnumbered are the members of Baby in this fight, but here comes Galio, not in time to save Luru, and they're going to turn their sights on Mazuza, but now things are tough. It's 4 versus 2, and how many more members are Baby going to lose? The taunt is going to come out. The hook finds P-Sweezy, who will be the second fatality of this fight. Dax throwing down that frozen domain is going to get away just barely, but TDE certainly finding their ways to strike back on the map and have taken the enemy's bot side jungle.
Yes, they have, and War Leader, I feel like I cursed that immediately, saying it was swinging in the favor of Baby, and suddenly Bob Joseph finds a play. Mr. Bob Joseph, by the way, as we should mention for a second here, he is the contender against Antunes, formerly considered one of the best, if not the best support in the league. And now we have Bob Joseph. This is, by the way, the first time in this season so far he has played the same champion that he's played previously. He is currently two games on the Blitzcrank as of now. Just whilst we get to a moment as we're watching some farming happening, let me mention Bob Joseph. I'm going to plug the FOF Connect just one more time here and say, if you haven't gone and read it, it is a very enjoyable read. Now, one as a little bit of a fight up here in the top side. I'll hold the thought for a second. Never mind. So, Bob Joseph made a segment, a section to well, now this might be an all-in.
No, they're just going to continue trading up on this top side. Zenzen repeatedly getting lost. But now, P-Sweezy and Dax have arrived in this top side, and they're going to look for the dive. All the members of TDE are on the bottom side. Frozen Domain is going to come out. Zenzen is not long for this world. Pillar comes out, putting Zenzen in the wall. Explosive Cast does nothing. P-Sweezy going to find him, and now Antunes caught out by Bob Joseph and leaves. Bob Joseph hook does not find Luru. Antunes going to flash away bolt time, going to dissuade any further dive. Solid 1 for 0 for the side of Baby as they find that tower in the top side. Nothing returned for TDE. 40 seconds until this Drake spawns.
God, and poor Zenzen. Former champion of FOF, by the way, but he's having a really, really rough time in this game on this Gragas. He's He's got the Frozen Heart on deck finally, but now as 2 of his towers gone down, Jaffe and Dax looking so strong with the help of all that lockdown from P Sweezy with that Predator as well. And yeah, they've established a kingdom up there on the top side, but they are potentially going to go give over the Drake to the side of TDE for this. But I think they'll be quite happy because they've made just a complete point of pressure on the map now that Jaffe can continue to force, or P Sweezy even with those TPs. And now, do they try to challenge this? It does look like they're making their way down into the river.
They are trying to make their way, but 5 strong from the side of TDE is going to be the Dragon's going to go in their favor first. Zenzen trying to flank onto Luru, but really who is being flanked? This Jaffe doing so much damage in the middle of the fight, and so much damage is coming out now. Zenzen being turned on, and wow, Bob Joseph and Leaves drop so fast in that fight. Jaffe going to look forward. Solar Flare is going to stun up Zenzen, looking for a way out. Explosive Cast not going to do much. Zenzen is hurtled by that blast cone straight into the Dragon Pit. Will Zenzen be able to get out of this? Mizuza's trying to find a way to get the Gragas out, and the movement just isn't there from the side of Baby. They are going to take the 2 kills. Dragon is going to go over that Hextech Drake to the side of TDE, so they've stopped the Drake snowball for now, but the gold lead keeps growing.
And I think, honestly, TDE will be a little bit relieved that they only lost 2 members there, because that looked super dicey for a second. They do manage to secure the Drake. They do lose over Leaves, who had to burn his I've lost the name. Absolute Zero. There you go. He burned the Absolute Zero quite early to secure the Drake. So wasn't able to get that into the fight. Goes down quite quickly, as does Bob Joseph. But overall, Baby, yes, they are continuing to build a lead, but the Soul does get slowed down for just a moment. So TDE, they are stemming the bleeding just a little bit, but still, nevertheless, it's a 5k gold lead.
Yeah, and now Baby have essentially all the cards in their hand, what they want to do next. And what they want to do next is find Bob Joseph stepping up too far for Vision, Jaffe finding stuns, Antunes going to get hooked over the wall, but Bullet Time is going to seal the fate of Bob Joseph, but now Luru's HP bar is low. That Chaos Storm does so much damage, leads into the fight, is going to stun up multiple members of Baby as the kills keep going over. That's 3. Jinx looking for a 4th. Mizusa flashing forward, not going to find Dax. Heals up just enough HP, but that's 3 for 1 for the side of TDE, as they are now the ones dictating the pacing of the game.
Oh my god, and Mizusa, he's been quietly building up such a massive lead on this Victor, and he's saying, look, if we might be losing the guys, I'm not losing my 100% win rate on this champion. So get on my back. Beautiful Chaos Storm comes down, as you mentioned, War Leader. Absolutely decimates the health bars of Baby, forced to retreat. And now, with that mid lane turret being taken down, the goal lead is starting to even up just a little bit. And they've really got a win condition now in this Victor with the Jinx following behind him.
Solar Flare and the Pillar are going to find Leaves, who stunned up in the Baron Pit, not able to move, but is so fast with that Phase Rush rune. Does not matter. Dax is faster. And now Bob Joseph in trouble once that move speed runs out. And Blitzcrank is slowed. Things get rough. Everfrost from P Sweezy is going to make Bob Joseph perish quite fast. And with 2 kills going over to the side of Baby, that jungle and that support role, it's going to open up Baron. And that is where Baby are going to go.
God, Wally, just when you think that a team's starting to build something back, it maybe managed to get that pick. Leaves just being a little bit too aggressive, trying to get some vision just before Baron spawns. And now, now this is a little bit dicey though. Because Ultravox is there.
Jaffe will get onto Mizusa quite quick. Cleanse burn instantly, but Jaffe finds the shutdown very fast onto that. Ultravox Super Mega Death Rocket is going to find Jaffe and get excited, and that means there's no more Baron take for the side. Oh my goodness, what a bullet time from Luru is going to find Ultravox, and now the fight swinging in Baby's favor. Respawns from Bob Joseph and Leaves, though, could spell a different story. Zenzen is going to drop. Dax is so massive. Leaves and Bob Joseph just don't have the damage to take down P Sweezy, and that means Baby will find even more kills on the fight. 5 for 1. They stop the Baron, but the gold lead is back up to 5k.
Huge, absolutely huge bullet time there coming in through. I'll be honest, War Leader, when I saw Ultravox get that first kill onto Jaffe, I thought, is this a Danny angle? But just Luru says, absolutely no, mate. Catch these bullets, and he gets taken out immediately. Yes, overall, they do manage to dissuade the Baron play, but Baby, coming out with so many advantages. Dax, by the way, is just an absolute monster right now on this Trundle as well. He's been just sort of playmaking for the team, but in fights, he's looking pretty hard to kill right now. And with this Drake coming up in 30 seconds time, it's not so point after that previous exchange in the Dragon Pit with only 2 kills going over to Baby. But at this point, I'm not sure how confident TDE feel about contesting this one. They are looking in the river though.
Yeah, it's going to be rough. Spirit Message now online for the Trundle means that troll is going to be so hard to kill, especially once the stats are taken from this Gragas or this Nunu, who have built quite tanky. It's going to be so tough to get the troll off of you as it gets Divine Sunderer proc after Divine Sunderer proc. But TDE do have control of the Baron Pit, and they are going to start up this Hex tank. Drake, P-Sweezy going forward onto Zenzen, who might be sacrificed, but Jaffe's found the pincer, and that means Mezuzah's in a lot of trouble, going to have to try and burst down Jaffe as trade of kills. 2 for 1 so far for Baby. They are going to lose that Aatrox. They are going to pick up the Drake. TDE will run away. Baby find 2 kills and the Drake for 1, and that might mean they're going to go for Baron. It would be quite aggressive if they did. I think they might just look for this mid lane outer, but Mezuzah without that Chaos Storm, without any summoner spells, is going to have a hard time defending this despite the wave clear, and that tower is going to drop.
It is, and hero play, honestly, from Jaffe there. Yes, he does go down, but he takes the attention of 4 members, allowing TDE to take out Ultravox on the other side. And Mezuzah on his own with no peel, he's a sitting duck, so he can't stick around to apply any more damage. Another Drake going over to the side of Baby. They're now on that soul point, and they do manage to take down that mid-tier 1, allowing them even more pressure in that mid lane should they wish it. But what can TDE do to respond to this? It does look like Zenzen might be able to take that bot tier 1 potentially. Leaves is actually going to start this.
Yeah, Leaves is starting up the Baron, and they do have a lot of damage on the side of TDE, but P-Sweezy is at the play, Dax is at the play, and they know Dax is here now. The pillar in the pit is going to identify what's going on, teleport in from Zenzen, but Antunes takes the Hex Key into the team, Solar Flare finds 3, and now Dax is free, hitting Bullet Time and finds so much damage as 3 members of TDE drop, but 3 members of Baby are looking quite low. Now Dax and Lulu trying to push forward onto Mezuzah and Ultravox, not going to find it, but once again, it's going to be 3 for 1 for Baby, and now they're the ones threatening the Baron. As Mezuzah's going to take that recall, Baby will start it up.
Yeah, and I don't know how they can respond to this. No Super Mega Death Rocket online necessarily. No Leaves it down, still dead for at least another 10 seconds. So with the TP coming in, yeah, that's going to be Baron. You would think going over to the side of Baby. God, these fights are so tense, aren't they, War Leader? Because it just looks like more's going to happen. It's going to be an ace, but overall, everyone's managed to disengage just about. But even so, that is going to be what Baby asked for. They're continuing to build their lead, and they pick up that Baron.
Jaffe does such a good job in these fights of soaking up so much damage that Aatrox has very little grievous wounds to be worried about. It's really just on that Nunu, and if you don't auto-attack the Nunu, well, the only way Nunu's applying it is on the Snowball. So if you don't get engaged on as Aatrox by this Nunu, you're never going to have grievous wounds applied to you, and that means your Gore Drinker and your Death Scan soak up so much damage from the side of TDE that Mezuzah and Ultravox just don't quite chunk through it yet. And that and Dax being super big means there's so much time for Luru to find an optimal angle for the bullet time, and when that bullet time comes out, 7 and 2, 3 out of Misfortune certainly dishes the damage. And that's how we've seen Baby take these fights so far. Now they're sieging mid lane with this Baron. 2 minutes till the Hex Dex ult.
Jaffe's now there on the bot side as well. He's going to be able to push this in.
Zenzen flashes in big cask, sends 3 into the team. Luru going to get out for now, but how do you kill the members of Baby? They are going to find P-Sweezy, concentrating the damage there, and now Absolute Zero is going to crush Luru as the bullet time comes out. Jaffe's not at the play. Andrew's trying to trade one back on the Ultravox, but it's not going to be found. Jinx now getting excited, and 5 strong in the mid lane. TDE comes up big. That being said, Jaffe in the side lane is going to pick up that bot lane outer turret. No, maybe not quite. We'll have to see if the minions are taking it, but they're going to take that powered recall, trying to go home so they can defend versus this push. Not very many minions for the side of TDE as Jaffe now arrives to the play, going to try and stop Bob Joseph. Hex flash over the wall, hook goes wide, and I think the siege is going to be off for now, but Dax looking forward. The World Ender is popped. Pillar goes on the wrong side, not quite going to find the angle. It was a really good look, maybe just pixels off from the side of Dax on that pillar. Would have found Bob Joseph.
TD, I mean, Zen going back. He's been having a really rough game, but he comes out clutch there, getting that huge explosive cask onto at least 4 members, and that's exactly what TDE needed. They do manage to pick up a shutdown, I think, onto Luru as well, and they managed to get themselves a push in up to the tier 3 in the mid lane. Objective bounties are still online from them, so they really do have a comeback angle potentially, but the problem for them is that the Soul's now spawning in 30 seconds, and Baby are the ones with their tempo advantage to get control of the river first. So with that bullet time, how do you walk in?
Notably, World Ender burned from Jaffe on the re-engage, not going to be up quite in time for the spawn. Now Dax looking for Bob Joseph, hook goes wide. We'll see where the pillar comes out. It's going to find Bob Joseph and leaves. Solar Flare finds 3.
Oh my
Bullet
God.
time is massive! Shreds leaves and sends in. Bob Joseph drops. Absolute Zero is interrupted, and now the damage is being dished out. Jaffe flash forward, finds Zenzen. Now we're going to find themselves in trouble. The Super Mega Death Rocket hits. Jaffe does drop. Trade back for Mezuzah, but all ultimates are off except that explosive cask and the heroic entrance. And now leaves, looking for an angle in with the snowball. Luru, full health, going to have to try and find a way to stop it, but the death ray does so much damage, and Baby have to back off of this break. This fight is looking so tense. Leaves so much sustain. Both sides trying to jockey for position now. Neither really willing to start up this Drake. Bob Joseph is now respawned and is now walking their way back to the pit. And with Hex Tech Snap going to get there quite quickly. And with HP bars not being restored, except for maybe Dax, who's on there hitting that Gromp, is going to get a lot of HP back. But Antunes and P Sweezy still at about half HP. Now Bob Joseph arriving at the fight, but Jaffe spawns in 3 and has teleport. So this could go back to 5v5 very, very fast. Teleport is channeled. The bounty does go over. The Drake does go over to TDE. Jaffe is too late. Jaffe really wants to find an angle, is going to try and find a way out. TDE don't want more. They're happy with what they got.
God, just going back for just a second here. Mezuzah is so menacing on this Victor now, even without the Chaos Storm, and he buys just enough time there for Leaves to get in. Dax doesn't get a whiff of this, and with the Drake being pulled over here, the TP advantage, because Jaffe isn't able to make it to the fight in time, that's the objective bounty being claimed, and they pick up a kill for their trouble as well. No response there from Jaffe, who has to leave, as you said, just a moment after. And I think Baby, they waited around for so long, not able to pull any advantage off of those kills they got previously. And TDE, they'll be very happy with that. They've denied the Soul, gotten another objective bounty, and all their money, their marbles are now funneled into this absolutely humongous Victor, who's on 18 Magi stacks. And Mezuzah, I'll be honest, I think he can do it.
Mezuzah certainly in a position to be able to do it. There's 18 stacks on the Magi Soul Stealer for that Victor right now, and the more that TDE can drag this game out, kicking and screaming, is going to make that Victor so much more powerful. The problem, though, Dax is nearly unkillable on this Trundle right now. 7-0 and 11, the Spirit Message and the Frozen Heart coming through for that Trundle. So hard to take down. Mezuzah has to find creative angles and utilize their range to pick off the squishier members to make these fights happen.
He does, and of course the Victor, if they work their way around those choke points correctly, on both sides it's really dangerous. But then this is why TDE are committing as much as they can to try to get control of this river, because this Baron is spawning in just a minute's time, and they want to be first to the play. Bob Joseph being very aggressive.
Bob Joseph looking for an angle, but Dax is here and ready to fight. The pillar is going to find Bob Joseph. Xenoblade in. Bob Joseph in a world of hurt now as Luru is dishing out the damage. Locking Philly keeping alive. So Solar Flare over the wall, forces multiple summoner spells. Dax does end up finding Bob Joseph. Flash taunt from P Sweezy, but the knockup's going to miss. Flash bullet time from Ultravox is massive and from Luru finds Ultravox, and it is massive. 2 kills going over to Luru. Baby take the fight decisively. And Luru, what a massive play in that one.
Huge bullet time they're coming out. Luru has been doing so much work on this pick, the 9, 3, and 10 on the Fortune, and that's going to allow at least an inhib to go down for the side of Baby, you would think. Mezuzah still untouched at the moment. He's managed to get out, but without that Chaos Storm online, he doesn't have any way of stopping this push. Baby aren't going to take any more than that, I don't think, but that is going to allow them to build enough pressure. Maybe they can now finally turn their sights on Baron.
Yeah, Ultravox, 3 more seconds till that Jinx is online. 8 more for the Nunu. Baby are going to decide to go back to base, don't want to risk any sort of steal onto the objective, but TDE are the ones who have to be worried now. They know that that is where Baby could go, and they're going to have to check it out. And it's so perilous to walk into this river. Jaffe, so strong right there. Is Bob Joseph going to find the hook? It will land. World Ender is out. Jaffe is healing quite a bit of damage, but the Super Mega Death Rocket finds Jaffe. But now, Peace Freezy into the fight. Taunt on 2. Dax trying to get into the fight. Solar Flare doesn't find much. Zen looking forward, but Dax is dishing out the damage. Peace Freezy chucked by Chaos Storm, but Bullet Time gets so much damage, is interrupted by Zenzen. Now Luru's in trouble. Victor does so much damage, and Dax doesn't have an angle onto any important members of TDE. And 4 for 1 for TDE means it's their turn to have a crack at this Baron, this time for real.
War leader Mizuza's doing it. He's doing it. And most importantly in that fight, Luru, the cooldown on the bullet time was just ticking. And it ticked just one tick too late. And by the time he pulled it off, it got massive value, but Bob Joseph was there to pull him out of it. And if he'd, in that show point, if he'd had that cooldown just a couple of seconds earlier, could have been an entirely different fight. But overall, TDE, they take the fight, they get it, they get the Baron. Suddenly, it's a completely different game.
And the gold lead has swung back now. Only 2,000 deficit as these standing gold bounds start to drop. The gold lead is going to swing further and further. It's now Baby on the back foot, and Victor only gets stronger. Full stacks on the Magi's means there's a move speed bonus, and with Phase Rush, so hard to get on top of this Victor. Baby are going to have to find some very creative team fight angles.
You know, we were discussing, I think, in just as staff before the game, War Leader, where we thought the biggest point of you know, pressure or like decisive lane is going to be, or role is going to be in this series, and it could well be the mid lane, particularly as Mizuza is just such an absolute beast on this Victor right now. But can he carry yet another fight? I mean, it's getting to the point where TD can take a straight up fight. They've got a 3-item Jinx. They still don't want to walk into a choke point though, but
Bob Joseph forward, going to find a hook onto Dax, but that's not who you want to hook. Dax is so tanky. Bullet Time is going to force out Zhonya's from multiple and find damage. Re-engage.
Oh my god.
10 drops, but the troll falls, and that means Ultravox is excited and does so much damage. Jaffe finds a return kill, but no match for Jinx, who has finally scaled Ultravox. Moment of redemption, and now TDE have their sights set on the mid lane. What can they push for? Luru alone has to try and stop the push. Leaves. Going to go over to that Drake. What a big turnaround from TDE.
That's what I'm saying. Bob Joseph, he's had to give his life up quite a few times this game, but he gets that crucial hook. Even in that fight, the bullet time is just not able to kill anyone at this point, and the team fight from the Victor and the Jinx is so strong that they're looking at Nexus turrets to be a little bit too much of an overextension, but they get an inhib of their own now. They managed to deny the soul yet again, stacking those Hextech Drakes, get some of the jungle as well, and now, yeah, TDE, they're starting to really, they pulled the gold lead back in their favor for the first time in what feels like forever, and they're really scaling up to, you know, to take this one back.
Dax maybe starting to regret the build choice, now going for a Tiamat to try and get some damage onto this Trundle. Dax has to be the one to find these angles, to buy space for Lure to get these massive bullet times. Oh, but Dax is going to get hooked by Bob Joseph over the wall, and Dax is in so much trouble, going to have to flash out. Super Mega Death Rocket is out, only finds Antunes. Oh my goodness, Dax, you gotta be more careful than that. Your whole team is riding on the way that you play this.
This is so scary, isn't it now? Now, side lanes be down. We're going to be seeing all of TD make a run up the mid lane. The Baron has just about come off. So now they can continue to apply pressure. They've got a push in the top lane as well. And they can just start taking control. Yeah, that was close. It was very close. But now they have full control of the top side jungle of Baby as well. Looking like a completely different game now. No control of choke points necessarily. And without that, it's actually really hard for Baby to play these fights.
Yeah, Luru has to be so safe. Oh, Bob just finds Dax, pulled into the team, and Chaos Storm is out. The troll falls. Ultravox becomes unstoppable, and the excited Jinx probably going to find this turret quite soon after. But the wave, it's been evaporated from the side of Baby, and now they do have to give up that top inner turret. Things looking quite dicey.
And it's 5v4 now, and they don't have the wave clear. They do have the bullet time still available here, but I don't know. They can't really make an engage now. Jaffe's just forced to sit and clear waves. And overall, Dax, he is spawning in 20 seconds time. There's no neutral objective yet for TDE to take, which is a big relief for Baby because they can kind of sit under turret and not give away too much. But for the moment, they do still have a mid inhib down. They'll have to respond to that super minion wave soon enough. And TDE, they're not letting up the pressure.
No, leaves Lever snowball under the tower. Explosive cast puts Jaffe in the middle of trouble, going to force that world ender, but there's no further engage. The minions do fall. TDE are going to be on the retreat. It's time for them to go back and go shopping.
Yeah, there's going to be some... I mean, to be fair, what more can Mizuza's full build? Ultravox got a lot of gold, so the moment he gets back to base, we're going to be seeing probably an LDR online and got at least. And now... Yeah, Bob, I mean, Leeds on the Nunu is now looking very difficult to kill, and the damage that we do worry a little bit. We did say if we get to the later stages of the game, then TDE, are going to be having this massive advantage with the Victor and the Jinx in team fights. It's coming alive, and the damage that Luru was pumping out previously, he's full of ballet, he's got a lot of items, he's very strong, but against these tanks, if he doesn't kill anyone, like it's just not enough alone for... Baby to deal with. But nevertheless, Baron's coming up in 40 seconds time. Once again, TD have control of the... Oh my god, that's a flash already.
Lure going to flash to maintain that Edge of Night. We're going to have to see if maintaining that item cooldown was worth the 5 minutes on flash, as now TDE putting more and more pressure on Baron, getting full control of this top side jungle vision. Maybe going to have to work together as 5 to get their way into their own jungle right now. And it starts by pushing out mid lane. Bob Joseph, though, looking for an angle. And Tunes is going to be pulled over the wall. And now it is in a lot of trouble. Bullet time is going to come out. It chunks Bob Joseph, but no one else. Ultravox is dominating kill on Antunes. And that means Baby, once again, relegated to that middle wave. And they're going to have to try and escape. Leaves with the snowball, who's oh so fast. Jaffe, not quite going to get hit, but... it does mean that TD have a perfect chance to pick up the Baron 4 versus 5.
On that pick. Once again, Bob Joseph comes through. So I didn't get a chance to finish my note on him earlier, but if you go back to the FOF Connect before this, if we do see the Baron going down, you will see a segment by Mr. Bob Joseph entitled Bob Joseph Support Manifesto. And I invite you to read it. It's a very enjoyable read. But what he says in it is, he says, why is our supports being judged on things like Vision Score? Vision Score is fake news. Zombie wards don't exist. The true testimony to how good a support is in this league is how many unique champions they can play. And as we mentioned already, Bob Joseph has played a unique champion every game of FOF so far until this one. He is saying, I'm the best, I'm the greatest, I can play any champion and I will win, and everyone sucks but me. And he is looking... He's had a rough start in this game, but now he's the one making all the plays happen for TDE. And it might be happening again.
Not quite. You say Vision Score doesn't matter, but 115 on this Blitzcrank is so massive. The dragon is evaporated. Hextech Soul over to the side of TDE, who are now so strong. Jaffe in a World of Hurt is going to fall. Heroic Entrance is in, but Cask finds Antunes, going to push them into the team. Dax taking so low. Bullet time goes out,
oh my
and
God,
it does pick up off Joseph, but that's all the damage Luru's got. And now, the Leaves is so tanky and impossible to kill. Ultravox cleans up the fight with the triple kill, and this is where TDE, in 40 minutes, 30 to 30 in kills, are going to take the win.
You know, War Leader, the last time these two teams played, it was a banger, and this was a banger as well. It swung back and forth so many times, but ultimately, in that show point, the tanks managed to buy so much time that, again, it's the Victor and the Jinx cleaning up the fight, and TDE, they played the comp out, they took all of that aggression from Baby, and they lead the series 1-0, they came to play.
So impressive from the side of TDE. The mistakes that they were able to find and punish. Bob Joseph and Zenzen leading the charge in terms of getting their team back on board, and what a standout performance from Mizuza on that Victor in the mid lane, keeping things alive, playing so safe, getting so much damage out.
I think there are a few champions that Baby might want to be looking to ban in the next game. Overall, they did play for early game. They played it well, but they weren't able to snowball quite as effectively as they'd have liked. And who knows? Maybe they'll be able to build it up more because TD were fighting back. But if they can snowball just a little bit faster next game, it could be a different outcome. But yeah, some things they'll definitely be wanting to take off the board against TDE.
Yeah, and we're Not going to have any interviews because, as a reminder, this is a full best of 5, and I hope it goes the distance. That being said, though, we are going to go to a break as both teams prepare for a rematch in Game 2 of this oh-so-exciting series. Don't go anywhere.